Hey everybody, Kelley Engineer here, and welcome to Kelley Construction. This is a new series within a series that I've had planned for quite a while. What I'm going to be doing in this series is any of my big builds I'm going to do all in one big episode, going over each aspect of it, what my themes, my desires, my everything that I want this building to be, I'm going to put in the Kelley Construction episodes. So in this episode, which I'm just probably going to call C1, I'm going to be going over my factory in Ragnamod V. The version of Ragnamod I'm in is Ragnamod V version 5.6.0, and I have added chisels and bits to the pack. Chisels and bits is not a default part of the pack. But I've already built a little bit of this factory in the main Ragnamod series. This is being recorded in between episodes 24 and 25. But yeah, I already have part of it, and before I hit the record button, I actually completed these two towers just to see what it was going to take. And I'm going to replicate these two tower designs over here, going over what their height are, what I'm going to be using with chisels and bits in order to make it. And yeah, so let's get started. Alright, on each of the towers over here, they're going to be 34 blocks high. I've already built up 2 of them right now because when I use my unbreakable wand, I didn't want to interfere with this wall. So, yep, this is up 2 blocks high, and I'm using arrayed bricks. And with my eye chisel, it's just a standard Minecraft brick. I've chosen the arrayed type. The reason I've done that is because they definitely show a little bit lighter, and that's the look I want for the factory. And I'm also using these standard bricks right here, because at a distance, using them as the column, you can definitely tell that, yeah, it's making it pop a little bit more, and I definitely like that. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to build this up 34, and then we're going to mark out where the windows are going to go. Alright, there we go. It is 34 blocks high. Now there's also something else that we have to do. We actually have to make sure that this inner part is done. So I need a little walkway in here because this factory is 2 stories high, but the walkway is going to be 3 high. So at the 4, I'm going to build this in one, and then connect it. Oop, make sure my pickaxe is in the right spot. Right there. And then we're going to build this up again, making sure that we also hit where the wall is going to be for the second floor. Just like that. So here's the entrance to the second floor, and there are 9 blocks in between here. So on the 10th is where you're going to have your hole. And yeah, same as before, it's going to be 3 high, but now we can actually start marking out the windows. So the windows that we're going to be marking out first is this corner window right here. So 1, 2, and on the 3rd, we're going to take out 2 blocks right here. And then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on the 8th, you're going to mark out right here. Now for these windows that are on the cardinal directions, we're only going to have them be on 2 sides. Just to make sure that if we tried to put them over here on the cardinal side, then it would interfere with the wall. And the same thing over here. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're just going to mark out where each of the windows are going to be before we get into the chiseling in bits. There we go. The first set of windows is done. Now before we actually move up, I may have only done 2 here, and there's 7 blocks right here. But for the next one, we're actually going to be going up 9 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on the 9th is when we're going to mark out our window. And we're going to do this one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just to make sure that the spacing is all good. Now, what I have used to... what I am basing this build off of is actually a French building called Filature Levavasseur, and it's a very old factory, and that has long since burnt down, but its ruins still remain. And yeah, I really like the look of it. That factory is actually 5 floors high, but I don't have the materials right now to be building a 5-floor factory, and honestly 2 is really what we need. So that is going to be the basis of design, and every once in a while, as I am designing something, I'm going to be putting in photos of what the build looks like, and those are all of my reference drawings that I'm using to actually build this. Alright, there we go. I have added all of the windows in, and you may have noticed that I am not putting any diagonal windows on this inside portion as well, because I honestly have no need for the windows to be on the inside portion. Also, when I build the roof on this thing, and it is a diagonal slanted roof, I'm probably going to add a upper window over here on the diagonal side, but I'm not going to do that until the roof is built, just so I know that I'm not interfering with it. But now we're going to get into the chisels and bits portion. I added chisels and bits to this pack because looking at the diagonal windows, if I wanted to fit the theme of La Filature Levavasseur, this looks like garbage. So I put in chisels and bits just so I could make it look not like garbage. I've already gone ahead and created my positive chisel designs, and I've grabbed from the portion that I've already completed over on those two towers 4 separate blocks. I'm going to start over here at the top. So this first positive chisel design and this last one are currently in replace mode, but these are going to be in placement mode already, and placement is the default whenever you have a new chisel design. The positive chisels are just made with paper, lapis, and water. Really easy stuff. But with here, now that I have replaced that, I have gotten all of these bits back that were actually made up of the block. And for this second one, since it's in placement mode, it is going to be placing from my bit bag. These 2 bit bags are filled with clay blocks right now because of all the work I did in the previous 2 towers. And I'm just going to rotate here, and then once again this one is replace. So you see that I have 2, 5, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 5, 6, 4, 6. Once I replace, 2, 5, 4, 1, 1, 3. So all those replacement bits went into the red bag. Until that one is full at least. I am going to leave this brick as is. I have nothing to really worry about. And what I got this circle off of is there are plenty of circle generators all over the internet. The one I'm using is from Donut Studios, because I like how simple it is. Don't really have to do anything. And I typed in 114 by 114 because this is a 7 block wide. So all I did is just 7 times 16 and put that into the Donut Studios, and everything worked out fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do that for both towers. You see that I've built this one up as well. I'm going to do this for both towers before moving into the inner block. The inner block is, I used 5 across. So that is 80 bits. Just put in an 80 by 80 circle in your whatever circle generator you're using. And yeah, you can use your chisels and bits to individually or mass produce all of the, make that circle using bits. Now, since this is in replace mode, I can actually just glide all the way down and start adding more bits to my bag. But you have to be careful because once I completely fill up this bag, and it is full now, it's going to start adding to this one. But if I keep going down and I do this on all of the sides, there is going to be a chance that I just start spewing bits all over the place. And I don't want to lose those bits. Clay and... So make sure that you keep periodically checking, because I have to manually make the clay right now, and then I have to smelt it all in that furnace over there, craft all of the bricks myself. I don't have the clay to spare to be wasting brick bits. So yeah, just make sure that you are being careful whenever you do. Oh, thank goodness. All right. But if you do find that you are, while you're in the middle of replacing stuff, that you are running out of bit bag space, that's why these two are in placement mode. Unfortunately, you can't hold the, you can't really hold the button, because when you're in placement mode, there's going to be a chance that, see how as I'm holding shift, it just moved the placement around. It's kind of wonky. So, yeah, it's just a matter of going up, placing as necessary. I'm going to take these back up by now. Yeah, that was for the sake of example, but ugh, that is what can happen if you are not careful when you're placing. So yeah, all I'm doing is just hitting space enough to get to the next block and then pressing the button. Or I could just wait right here, boom, boom, down, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, there are multiple ways that you could go about this. But I am, like I said, I'm going to complete the tower and then move on with what our next portion is going to be. I have the tower completed right now, but as you can see, The diagonal windows still look a little weird. So what I have is right here. Oh, I need to put this one in placement mode. Here we go. Is a way that we're going to fix the windows. So what I've done right now, and it's kind of difficult to tell, but it's just a 1 going all the way across, and it's going to go the same way on the inside as well with these two. And there we go. We can actually get out this window now. And you see that it looks a lot better. It's actually a square window. It's still a little bit wider than the cardinal direction windows though. So we're going to widen the space a little bit more. And I'm just going to do it by 1. Because even though this isn't that wide anymore, from a distance, they kind of look about the same. So I'm really happy with them going about it this way. And I'm going to replicate that on all of these windows. I'm not really focused on the chisels and bits portion right now. I'm not recording all of it as I could be. Because not everyone likes chisels and bits. I love chisels and bits personally. But since not everybody likes watching people do chisels and bits, I'm going to avoid most of it. The block placing though that we're going to do for the walls a little bit later on, I'm definitely going to keep the record button hit for that one. As we place all of the walls down. Now that each of the towers are done, and well, not each of the towers. This one is still unfinished because I don't have enough bricks right now, and I'm working on crafting more. But now that the towers are mostly done, I'm going to start working on the outside walls. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to be using regular bricks for the outside columns, and I'm still going to be using the arrayed bricks over here. Now, on the factory itself, which I don't think I mentioned before, but is in a neo-Gothic style, you'll notice that there are actually 4 arches right here on the base before a massive arch actually starts right about here, and I actually have quite a bit of leeway, and ends right about here. So that is where I'm going to put the massive arch, and it's a standard like semicircle arch. It's actually something referred to as a Lancet arch. Lancet arches are very popular in Gothic and neo-Gothic architecture, and which this very much falls into. So I will be using heavy chisels and bits once again in order to make that Lancet arch, because Lancet arches in Minecraft are very difficult because you need to be using slabs and stairs as well to make sure you get the right shape. And I just don't have the space to be doing that. It's the primary reason I added chisels and bits to the pack, just so I can make things a little bit easier. And you know what? Let's take a look at this from a distance. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to add one more right here. There we go. Before using chisels and bits to cut out where each of the areas is. Now we're going to go start working on the edges of our tiny arches at the base. So what I'm doing right now is, I'm grabbing this chiseled bit bag, and I'm going to grab some limestone from it. The reason I'm doing this, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I like to grab a lighter block when I'm working on small details, especially on patterns where it's hard to see where you're actually working. So I am only going to make, there we go, I am only going to make 3 arches in here, even though the actual cathedral has 4, mainly because this is a 48-bit area, and 48 bits is not a lot of it's not a lot of space to work, especially if I want to add 4 arches. I'd lose more detail than I'd be gaining. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to go into replace mode, and there we go. Every 2. I'm going to replace a little bit. Right there, and right there. And now that I have this area, it'll just make it easier for me to see where I'm actually working before I actually start cutting out the archway. There we go. So with these 3 arches, I can get to work, and I'm probably going to make it, you know what? Yeah, right about here. So I am going to be turning these Lancet arches into doubles, just because I think it'll look better than trying to go for a pointed tip. And I know a lot of people don't like working in evens. They'd much rather prefer working in odds, but I don't really have a choice here with this 48-bit area. So I'm going to start drawing out the area that I'm going to be working in, and yeah, I'd say right about there is fine. This is a very nice tip that you can use when you're working in chisels and bits. Because I'm using the limestone, I can actually just use the chisel and go into connected material and take away only that area, and I don't have to worry about. There we go. That's beautiful. I don't have to worry about taking out all of the brick. I can only take out the details I want using only a contrasting bit style. So I'm actually going to undo that. Alternatively, you can also use with the bit that the main material is, so this arrayed brick, I can do the same thing. Connected material. Go back to replace. And it will replace the area. Whoops, that is adding. So undo that. Place. There we go. See, it just replaced the area instead if you want to completely undo all of your work and make it a normal brick again. Here we go. Now that we have this laid out with limestone, it's going to be easier to work on those lancet arches, which I'm going to start working on now. So grab my limestone again. So when working on lancet arches, it is important that you always work in higher numbers. Well, actually, I guess that's true of really any arch. But yeah, one of the legs, or one or two of the legs, are always going to be longer than the others. So I'm going to see how this is. I'm just trying to feel out how I want this arch to go in the area that we're working in. So back off a little bit. Yeah, see, that's, I'm not liking how that is. The reason why is because this area right here, because it's so short, it makes it look like it's actually sucking in a little bit instead of getting the outside that I want. So I'm going to make that one the 3. And yeah, replicate that on the other side. Yeah, see, that's much better. So going with the 3, 2, 2, 2, 1 definitely makes a better arch design, or a better lancet arch, than what I had before. So I'm going to do this again on the other sides. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. Yeah, so I'm definitely liking how this arch is turning out now. And it's better to experiment. 2, 3. And we're definitely going to see this at a much larger scale where we start working on the larger arch, because every single arch in this cathedral is a lancet arch. So we have plenty of time to practice. Oop, undo that. We have plenty of time to practice if we get some of them wrong. And there we go. I really like the look of that. I am a little disappointed that I can't go to a 1-point tip on here, and I'm stuck using these 2, but that's what happens when you work with primarily even numbers. But I am happy with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this limestone into a placement instead. And right about here, I'm just going to draw a line all the way across. The reason why I'm doing that is because just to make my life easier a little farther down the road, because this is actually a real part of the cathedral. I didn't choose limestone just because it was a good contrast. I'm going to be making heavy use of limestone throughout the entirety of the cathedral for the smaller details. And there is this little 2-bar right here on the actual cathedral before the main arch happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build up a line of brick over here that I can cut away in order to make the larger arch. And I'm also going to use my chisel to cut out all the way to the other side. There we go. Alright, I'm also going to have to probably make another bit bag, or if you so choose, what you can do is you can use these bits to just make blocks. I already did that over here with these bricks, but if you go to a connected plane, all you can do is just build up with your bits, and you see I just made another brick. Just made another brick, and I gave myself a little bit more room in my bit bag to cut away into my archways. And should you need more bits later on, go to your same material and just chop it down again. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that. Go back to my connected plane. Correction, my connected material. Here we go. And then start cutting in again. There we go. And with that, we're just about done with our archway. Our smaller archways, rather. Now, before I replicate this on every single side, I'm doing one more experiment just to see whether or not I like the look of it. So, over here. And what I'm doing is I have this in replace mode right now. And once again, to connected plane. And I am just making all of these inside bricks limestone. Oh yeah, that's wonderful. Okay. Later on I am going to be adding some glass to this. And oh yeah, by replacing it all with limestone, it definitely makes a pretty good detail. I'm debating whether or not I should now make this come out one. And you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. So go back to my connected material. Yeah, I'm going to make this come out one. Just to see whether or not it helps the detail pop. And this is the reason why building takes so long for me, is because I'm always wondering what little details I can add to my build. Whoops. Let's get rid of that. There we go. There. You know what? Yeah, it definitely adds a little bit more 3D. Looking at it straight on, can't really tell, but from a side, you could definitely tell that that arch is a little bit more 3D, and I like it. So I'm going to replicate that on each end before I go get my positive chisel designs again and make it match on each of these sides and the side over there. It's going to be a little bit more difficult over here where I have my sieves. Oh, actually, no, it won't. I built down the axle so that it will not interfere. Cool, it's not going to be difficult at all. Hurrah. I am really liking the look of this. Once the glass is in there, it'll definitely make it... Yeah, it'll make it a little bit better, because as you can see on the right side of the screen, having that much limestone right there really takes away from it all, so we're going to need something to darken that up. So, yeah, I'm probably going to... When I do choose my glass for these windows, I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Probably a light gray. Yeah, I think a light gray will definitely work. But I am loving how these arches look. I'm glad that I went 3 instead of 4, you know, measurement aside. I also saved on quite a bit of brick by using this limestone here. Here we go. Come on, there we go. So because I have so much limestone when I'm using these patterns, it's actually saving me quite a bit on the brick bits that I have to use, because bricks are definitely at a premium here. I am still crafting, I'm still using more than I'm crafting. So where is my chisel? Did I put my chisel away? Oh, that's unfortunate. But yeah, I'm very happy with how these windows turned out. I replicated it over on this side as well. I'm definitely going to have to torch this place up. Every time night falls, I'm dealing with a lot of mobs. I also put my sword in here, just because I wanted to save room. I was expecting a lot more bits and blocks that I had to use. There's my chisel. But until I light all this up, I'm going to start carrying my sword around with me again. So, all I'm going to do is just boop, boop, take all of this, and we're going to start working on the next portion, which is the large arch. Now, the large arch, like I mentioned before, because I'm going to be going Lancet, it's going to be a little difficult. I'm going to be doing a lot more measurements than I was doing on this arch right here in order to make it look right. So, yeah, let's get started on that. So now, we're ready to start working on the upper arch, which is going to be significantly more difficult other than the fact that it is a larger arch. You may notice that I have put my foundation over here, and I've used a gap of 2, so this is going to be a 44-bit space. And the reason why I'm using the outside is because on the inside of this one Lancet arch, there are 2 Lancet arches, as well as up at the top a rosary window. The rosary window is going to be the second most difficult part of this entire area, because, yeah, calculating out the area I need to use is going to be quite a bit difficult. But I am working on the upper arch over here. You can see up here at the top, I've already marked out where the top of my arch is going to be. So I just need to make sure that I'm going to have everything matching. Yeah. So I'm going to start calculating this out. I'm not going to show you all of the trial and error it's going to take to get this right, but I will come back to you to show you what I'm going to do in order to make the inner arches stand out. So this is what I have of my arch so far, and the reason why I say so far is because I'm not done with it yet. I was hesitant to show you all this because it's technically the hard way to go about things. There is some people, when it comes to Lancet arches, can just immediately like build it and it looks perfect each time. But what I do is I actually go to my circle generator and I take the area that I'm working with. So from here to here is a 46-bit area. And in my circle generator, I just double that. So I'm dealing with 92. And what I start to do is I just start building the circle on both sides at the same time. So, and then once those circles intersect, you end up with a pretty good looking Lancet arch. And it's probably a quarter of the way through the circle when it's being built up. But sometimes you do end up, depending on the size of your circle, with bits that look like this. And from a distance, it doesn't look that bad. But there is definitely something weird going on here with that little bump. So I'm going to smooth that out, and here's where the trial and error comes in. So now that I've smoothed that area out, to my eye, what it looks like is the area I just cleared out is drooping down a little bit more. And I don't like that droop because, yeah, it doesn't make it look like a true Lancet arch. I'm going to replicate it over here by getting rid of that, so and see what it looks like. And actually, yeah, that's really not that bad looking. But there is still something off about the arch. So I'm going to trial and error this a little bit more to try to get the look I'm looking for. But that is the way that I make my Lancet arches. It's easier to do with larger areas. So over here, like I said, oh, that is a baby zombie. What's up? Oh, can he not go through here? Baby zombie can't go through there. That's handy. Yeah, over here was a little bit easier because it's such a small area that I just fleshed it out and it looked fine first try, but that's not always going to happen. And using the circle generator for the larger arches definitely gets you this type of result. But I'll be back with you once I clear this area out and I'm ready to begin with the inner arches on here. So for the smaller arches, what I've done is I've actually created a 2 gap right here and a 1 gap right here just to see how it looks. And I actually like the lip that it creates. It blends very well with the, I unfortunately have a mortar portion of the brick here. So I may build this up once, but I'm actually going to focus on the smaller arches first. So I built them down quite a bit. Because, like I said before, there's going to be a rose window in each of the arches over here, a very small rose window, and want to make sure that there's enough room. So I'm dealing with an 18-bit space. So like I said before in the previous clip, what I've done is I've gone to a circle generator and I have put in 36, which is doubled what the area I'm working with is. So I'm starting with the lower end. The large portion of the circle in each of the cardinal directions on a 36-bit circle is 4. So I'm just going to build up by 4. I'm going to do the same thing over here just to show you in detail what I mean by making the circles intersect. So the next portion up is going to be a 3-bit area. 1, 2, 3. And little tiles actually allows you to create circles to begin with. Chisels and bits does not. But that's perfectly fine. After the 3-bit area is a 2-bit area. 2 bits. 2 bits. And I believe there's one more 2-bit area. Nope, it goes right to the 1s. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. And there is one more 1-bit area. There we go. 2-bit. 1-bit. Oh, come on. 1-bit. 1-bit. And then here's where it starts to get a little weird. Because of the way that the circle is, instead it has a 2 area right there. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and then another 2 starts here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out this area. And there we go. Now that I have the intersected arch, actually that is perfect. I don't have to mess with that at all. But that is what I did with the intersection. So it goes from 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. I've just cleared out the rest until it actually holds the arch shape. And that is what I do for all of my Lancet arches, and I have left more than enough of a decent gap here to put that circle right here to make my rose window. Alright, I have used limestone to build this archway all the way down, and I've actually extended it up 1, just so I can keep it even across all edges. It's going to be too thick, and from a distance you can definitely tell that it is a separate window. Up close before you could easily tell, but from a distance it blended a little bit too well. Didn't look right to me. But I have these two positive chisel designs right here because I want to replicate this archway over here. So this left facing, or the one that's in my left slot, is a replication of this one, and the right slot is this one. So luckily, because we're dealing evenly here with 3 blocks, all I have to do is just hold shift with the first one, rotate it twice, and then I can replace it easily enough. Unfortunately, with the second one, we're going to use a mode that I haven't used yet in this series, and that's the additive mode. If I tried, and I'm going to rotate it twice again, to place this, it is currently in replace mode, and it's going to erase this one. So, I'm going to undo that, switch the mode to additive, and what it's going to do is it's going to take this chisel design and add it to what already exists in this block space. And there we go. So now I'm actually, to make this easier on myself later on, I'm just going to delete that and copy this whole area. There we go. And you know what, just to make it easier on myself here, boom. So now all I have to do is just run through. Boom, there we go. All I have to do is just run through and I can place each individual arch one at a time without having to worry about whether or not it's in additive mode. It's all going to be in replace mode or placement mode in the case of the center one. It's going to make it easier to place all of these arches. So I'm going to do that now. When I come back with you, we're actually going to start building out this circle right here. And so we can make the rose window. The rose window is going to be difficult to do because I need to make sure that I have a decent enough design that it looks good with how thick these walls are. And that's going to be the real challenge. So I just got done, here we go. I just got done finishing off this wall, and I am loving the look of it. I'm still going to make that tiny rose window in here, and that's why I left this blank spot. And this hole in the middle is just so I have a little guide when I'm doing it. Like I said, I am making new bricks right now. Oh yeah, also, the inside of it looks really good as well. Having more limestone show on the inside really brightens the area up, and I'm digging the look it creates. That was unintentional, but I'm glad I'm getting a little something out of it. I'm still going to put the glass probably right about here, maybe a quarter or a third of the way in on the outside, so that it definitely darkens it up, because adding this standard Minecraft brick is darkening it a little bit, but not as much as I want it to. I still want the lighter portion of the arrayed brick to pop out more, and yeah, the limestone is ruining that. So like I said, I am creating new brick right now because I'm completely out. All I have is dark brick left and a little bit of standard brick. So yeah, but I'll be back with you once we're ready to start working on that rose window. I just wanted to give you a quick status update on how things are looking, so I'll be back with you in just a second. Alright, here we are. This is going to be the start of my rose window, and I think in this video I've been calling it a rosary window, which I'm not even sure is a thing, but this is supposed to be a rose window, which is a staple in most Gothic architecture. And this is supposed to be a 28 by 28 window, and I had to edit it a little bit because I did not give myself enough room to actually fit the whole window in there. So where this 2 is, it's supposed to be 1, 2, 3 single bits, and I removed a single bit in each of the corner, and it actually maintains its circle shape pretty well, and it also fits in very well with everything else. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. I'm not actually going to work on the rose windows right now because this is a very small area, and I may not even make this a rose window because even with chisels and bits, it's going to be difficult to have a good rose window look. However, over here in the main entranceway, there is also a very large rose window that I am going to put in there. And yeah, I'll go over rose windows when we get to that. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this design all the way over on each of the faces of here. Another thing is, because I keep running out of bricks so often, what I did is I actually took my chisel and I indented by one each area over here, all the way down. I'm not going to go over here. Like down here, it's still the same as it was before, but in here I wanted a little bit more depth in between where this arch is and this arch is. So up close, you can definitely see that there's some extra detail there, and it doesn't really remove anything when you're viewing it from a distance. So yeah, it also saves me on brick bits, which is the most important thing on a build this size. Oh, it looks really good from the inside too. Nice. But we're going to move on to the next portion of this, which is the second floor after I insert all of the windows over here. So here is my attempt at a rose window, and it is completely hollow on the inside. Get out of here so I can actually look at you. There we go. But it is actually hollow on the inside, but it is imprinted on both sides. And though I'm not happy with the design, it is most definitely a rose window. So yeah, this is the design that I'm going to keep for these windows, at least for the smaller ones here. And yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's definitely alright. But what I did is I took some stained glass, made 32 of each, and then made some bits of it, and individually put them in there. So yeah, it's like I said, I'm not happy with the design, but I'm happy with the actual result. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it all the way over here. And I know I said the next clip I was going to start working on the actual entrance of this place, or maybe the back, because I don't have any part of the wall in the back set up. And yeah, that's definitely what we're going to be doing. Later on, what I'm actually debating on doing is getting some sort of liquid put in there, which is why I made it hollow. But I want to put a liquid in there, and I can make liquid bits. But if I have a liquid in there, maybe it'll actually help it pop, because right now this double that I'm seeing in there, only if you're looking at it from a certain angle does it actually look good. Otherwise, the double in there just makes it look messy. So I'll think of a way later on down the line, as I progress in this pack, Ragnamod V, how to fix it. But yeah, for now we can move on. Alright, we're ready to start the front entrance of this place. There aren't very many pictures of the front of the cathedral/factory, whatever we want to call it. And so I had to go to Google Maps, type in Filature Levavasseur, and yeah, I just went through all of the pictures that were on Google Maps related to the place. I'm actually using one right now, but unfortunately, since it's on Google Maps, I can't utilize it. If I try to download it, it'll just show up as an HTML and have to go through all the trouble of grabbing the PNG from it. So I'm not going to do that. But yeah, let's get started. You see, I've already gotten it started by using the columns from over here on the side. And I just copied them using my positive chisel designs and pasted them over here. There's only supposed to be, same as on the sides, 4, but I took some liberties, and so I'm going to be using 6 over here in order to do these massive windows. Also, the door and the window are roughly the same size. I believe the door is actually a little bit shorter, but I'm going to go for the same size on here. There's also, right here, once I get to the roof, there is a very large rose window. So I need to get planning that as well. What else did I do in between cuts? Oh, the black glass. So right here, I have some black stained glass, and on the inside, I actually have onyx stained glass from Silence Gems. And I have it on both sides. It is still a hollow block, because I wanted to save on glass, quite frankly. But I have the 2 layers here, and then on the other side the 2 layers, and it really darkens it up very nicely, so that when I finally decide to put the floor in, you're not going to be able to see much of the floor. It's not going to take away from the overall design when you're looking at it from the outside, because the floor will be barely visible. I have done an extensive amount of research on this build, and I cannot find a picture of what the inside of the factory looked like when it was still standing. It's a burned out husk now, and there are plenty of surviving photos of what it looks like as a husk, but none of actually how the floors were placed. So I don't know how the floors interacted and blended into the windows, but I'm sure we'll figure that out whenever we actually start constructing it. The same over here. I'm going to have to darken up the windows quite a bit in order to make the floor match there as well. But I'm going to get started by doing the same thing as before. I'm going to make a Lancet arch on all 4 of these. And, oh, the door is also a Lancet arch, so that's why I said 4. But yeah, I'm going to work on that. They're going to be roughly the same because they're all 6 blocks wide. And I'm going to, I'm just going to make them all the same because it'll be easier to use my positive chisel designs to replicate how the arch is going to go. And here we are. I am very happy with the results of this. I have all 4 of the Lancet arches here. I also took a look at more photos and I was wrong. There actually are 6 arches here on the front and 6 arches on the back. So I may have flubbed with the design a little bit over here on the side because of room, but I had more than enough room on the front in order to fix these 6 arches. I also filled in these columns right here. These columns on the sides are not actually part of the original design. These are something I added for the sake of symmetry, but they are 23 blocks high. This arch from the base all the way to the top is 17 blocks, and here to here are 13 blocks. Yeah, I'm going to get working on the next part, which is going to be just as difficult as these were over here. There are 2 arches inside this one arch, and not only are there 2 arches, there are also 3 circles this time. A mini rose window, same as before, but there are also 2 smaller circles as well that have to fit inside here. So it's going to be a design challenge to make sure that I can fit those in with no issue. I also realized I forgot to say that I'm teaching bad habits right now. So it would make the most sense for me to just design one window and then transfer it over to each window that it applies to. I am not doing that all the time. I am actually filling in everything that I possibly can using the positive chisel designs just to make sure that all of it works as a family, not just as a unit, but as a family. Some people would think that that's honestly adding too much work for themselves, and that's perfectly fine, and I understand that. Like I said before in the video, I like doing things the hard way. It gives me the, I like being able to see the bigger picture whenever I'm building as big as this. So yeah, it is a bad habit that I do, and, but yeah, it would make more sense for me to just design this window. I'm moving around a lot. It would make a lot more sense for me to design this window and then just transfer it over to the remaining 2 windows, as well as the back over there. I'm definitely going to transfer them to the back when I get to that point. But yeah, that's just my personal preference. As well as, I don't think I have a good photo to throw in here for what the arches inside this window look like. It's a little difficult to describe, and not a lot. Is it raining again? Yeah, I'm going to try to find a decent looking photo. A lot of them are very grainy because they're old photos. This mill burned down in the 1870s. So yeah, I'm going to try to insert a photo where necessary, but I am going to get to work. I also just realized that I flubbed up a little bit. So whenever you decide to take a normal block and turn it into a chisel, it actually changes the design around a little bit, and you can see that this design is much different. This is a whole brick block, as the game actually, as Minecraft actually makes it, and right beside it is one that has been chiseled. You can see that, yeah, this part is supposed to be a little higher up, but the meshing is off a little bit. So it's a little jarring once you actually notice it. Yeah, it's not noticeable from the get-go, but once you know it's there, it's going to bug me for a while. So this entire wall, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chisel, and I'm going to connected plane, and I'm going to just make all of these the same. Oh, yeah, I just did something I did not want to. I did not want connected plane, I wanted connected material. There we go. So go to connected material, and then we can go in here. That way I have the little jet out here, just to make the structure a little more 3D. and I can get rid of how discomforting not having the real blocks are going to be. It's no longer a full brick, it is a chiseled brick, and because it's a chiseled brick, it has that weird design on it. So coming back with a little progress update right now, and I have everything done on this window, with the exception of the larger of the rose windows. I cannot figure out a good design that can go in here. I don't want to mirror this flower here, and so I was going for like an open tulip, and I failed miserably. I'm still trying to work out the bugs. But for the rest of it, I am very happy with it. These are the same exact size as the side windows over here, as well as a copy-paste job of the rosary windows on the side as well. So I'm definitely happy with how this looks. I doubled out here just to make it pop a little more, because the front of the cathedral, and for that matter the back of the cathedral, should look as good as possible. I'm probably going to add some sort of outline as well to the sides of these windows, but unfortunately I underestimated how much time this was going to take. I have been at this all day. It is now 12:42 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day, and I'm going to have to bust this into 2 parts. So in between episodes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out this rosary window over here and copy everything over to the side. The back side of the factory is, like I said, pretty much exactly the same, with the exception of there's no door. So it's going to be 3 of these windows. So I'm going to do that, as well as frame out these windows over here. But I am Kelley Engineering, and I hope that you did enjoy this first episode of Kelley Construction, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.